The following presentation gives birth to the most revolutionary change the mortgage industry has seen since the introduction of automated underwriting. The mortgage origination industry has the privilege and responsibility of carrying the torch for a core component of the American dream, namely home ownership. But the dream of home ownership has turned into a nightmare for millions of Americans, not to mention the nightmares being experienced throughout the mortgage industry itself. Additionally, the mortgage industry is a $1 to $2 trillion per year component of the U.S. economy, which means that if the mortgage industry is sick, well, the rest of the economy is ailing as well. Clearly, the mortgage origination industry needs to change, and in a drastic way. The good news is that the timing couldn't be better for introducing the GreenBar-MORTGAGE visual decision engine because it offers the industry an opportunity to make a real and meaningful change which serves the need of the consumer, originators, mortgage companies, and investors. Change begins with a willingness to question everything we've been taking for granted. It's time for innovation to take over and reinvent the way we do things. It's time for GreenBar-MORTGAGE. The process of providing residential mortgage services as it currently exists is a transaction which, from the perspective of the consumer, is very complicated. The level of complication is a function of meeting the needs of Wall Street, which will be the ultimate buyer of the mortgage-backed asset, which is the byproduct of a mortgage transaction. So it's understandable that the paperwork and lending guidelines have been dictated by the needs of the Wall Street investor. However, the unintended consequence of this process is that consumers are overwhelmed with confusing and complicated paperwork and terminology, which, although it is important and integral to the transaction, does nothing to condense the process down to an easily understood set of criteria which a borrower can use to determine whether they are making a good decision that serves their self-interest. And let's remember, consumers represent the foundation that we are building the mortgage-backed asset on. And let's be honest, when it's all said and done, the consumer is the one that has the final say in the quality of the mortgage. So there is immeasurable value in improving the quality of the borrower by educating them with a purpose and strategy that is based on personal responsibility, keeping it simple, self-reliance, and common sense. And we should also not lose sight of the fact that mortgage originators represent the face of the entire industry and the end product, which becomes the mortgage-backed asset. As such, the relationship the consumer has with the originator and the experience the consumer has at the point of sale is critical and should be a priority and key component of the underwriting process. So consider for a moment the idea of beginning with a blank slate and starting from scratch to create a new, revamped, and consumer-centric mortgage origination process with the purpose of making the borrower a better borrower, as well as making the originator a better originator, and in the process, improve and strengthen the entire mortgage industry. A decision engine and mortgage origination method that combines the mortgage service with educating the borrower that is built right into the pre-qualification and origination process. A process that would enable the loan originator to deliver a true net tangible benefit to the consumer every time. A process which can assess an unlimited number of loan program scenarios and instantly identify which one is going to put the borrower in the safest possible position and tell you why. We're talking about a decision engine that loan originators and mortgage companies use to guarantee that the borrower and the originator are able to determine whether the loan is prudent, suitable, and sustainable at the point of sale. A decision engine that enhances and supports all of the currently existing underwriting guidelines and associated products and services, but also serves as an underwriting engine for the consumer so they can make a decision based on what's right for them and how the transaction will affect their financial picture. As such, GreenBar-MORTGAGE doesn't rely on credit scores, debt-to-income ratios, or even a loan-to-value ratio. Now that's reinventing the mortgage industry. No, we're not talking about a return of the infamous magic mortgage mirror that grants a loan to anyone that can fog it. We're talking about a one-of-a-kind, consumer-centric pre-qualification decision engine which distinguishes the GreenBar loan originator, decreases exposure to default risk, provides the consumer with a significantly greater value for the service received, drives customer loyalty and referrals up, and increases revenue. A visual decision engine that condenses and simplifies all of the complicated and confusing stuff that borrowers see to where the LO and the borrower are only asking and answering one simple question, which is, does this mortgage transaction put the borrower in a more safe financial position or a less safe financial position? That's what the GreenBar Mortgage Visual Decision Engine does. It's an extremely intuitive and visual decision engine that is based on the premise that the client, the loan originator, mortgage companies, and the entire mortgage industry are better served when the mortgage strategy seeks to put the borrower in the safest possible position, and the effect is a substantial and positive change in the quality of residential mortgages. It's so easy to understand and such a common sense approach to originating a mortgage that you'll find borrowers saying, "Why hasn't anybody shown this to me before?" And you'll of course be saying, well, frankly, this is the way that all mortgages should be originated. GreenBar Mortgage is the only visual mortgage qualification decision engine that uses the GreenBar standard as a personalized means of helping consumers to make good financial decisions. The GreenBar standard enables the mortgage industry to support an origination process which is built on the premise that home ownership comes with responsibilities. And in doing so, the industry is able to simplify and clearly promote a consumer-centric underwriting concept based on what a financially responsible homeowner should strive to do. GreenBar Mortgage enables the LO to take the borrower down a process which ensures that borrowers contemplate questions that are important to them so that they can assure themselves that they are making a sound decision that protects them as well as the lender. A GreenBar analysis is an interactive, personal finance teaching and education process that starts by taking a snapshot of the borrower's current financial foundation using the criterion of the GreenBar standard while simultaneously introducing them to our four-step cash model. Using the GreenBar standard as a benchmark, the borrower's current financial foundation is then compared to the new GreenBar strategy to determine if we have improved or worsened their financial situation. GreenBar Mortgage provides a visual answer in the form of a green bar, which represents the cumulative result and impact of all of the variables involved in the mortgage transaction that's being considered. Each borrower will clearly see whether they are being placed in a more safe financial position or a less safe financial position. And GreenBar does all of this without having to engage in mortgage speak to discuss things which consumers may or may not understand fully. The GreenBar mortgage process concludes with the borrower receiving a detailed, easy to implement, and personalized 10-page GreenBar custom mortgage solution at closing, which will provide financial protection and a long-term strategy for creating substantial retirement resources. Let's do a quick recap. GreenBar is a pre-qualification and origination process that seamlessly blends the origination process with personal finance teaching and education to guarantee the borrower is making a prudent, suitable, and sustainable decision that puts them in the safest possible financial position to reduce the likelihood of default. Every borrower gets the same result, which is a completed four-step cash model that puts them in the safest possible financial position. The only difference between one borrower and another is the length of time it takes for them to complete their four-step model. Every GreenBar borrower receives a simple, effective, actionable, and clearly defined personal financial plan that they get to take home. GreenBar works alongside of the current guidelines and systems established by Wall Street to originate a mortgage. As a result of providing such value in the form of consulting, teaching, educating, and providing a valuable long-term financial plan, borrowers are more appreciative of the services being provided by the mortgage originator, which results in an increased revenue stream. Thanks for viewing this overview of the GreenBar Mortgage Visual Decision Engine. I should warn you that anyone who has seen GreenBar Mortgage in action will tell you that until they saw a complete demonstration, they had a false impression of what it is and exactly how it works. So, your next step should be to watch a complete A to Z demonstration of GreenBar Mortgage in action so you can see for yourself how it is used in a real borrower scenario.